I was going to ask about that, no? How critical the vaccination rate, especially the 12 to 17, and also the ones younger, if ever that's going to be mandated, no? Or at least open to the even more minor children, no? So my question is, do you have projections as to, whether you're going to open up depending on the rate of vaccination? For example, if you're pretty sure that is there like a herd immunity that you're also targeting before you open up the face-to-face system completely?
Well, right now, the requirement, the minimum requirement is that all teachers and school non-teaching personnel in the schools that will face our learners, our kids in school, should all be vaccinated. As much as possible, the households of the learners, especially the vulnerable members of the family, if there are elderlies in the home or parents or other members of the household that have comorbidities, then they should be vaccinated. The children, and that's why we started with K to 3, based on the data, are the ones that are most resilient to a level of infection, shorter periods, as well as least severe. But as transmitters, they could be transmitters, and it is the homes that become vulnerable to that. And so there is a risk that we cannot reduce down to zero, and that is why we have been very careful with the guidelines, so that there is a continuity of all the protocols following the framework of prevention, detection, isolation, treatment, and reintegration, all into place. But of course, I mean, we will be dealing with a system of as many as 27 million learners nationwide, and about 800,000 plus teachers. And so it's quite a big segment of the population in one, you might say, one sector, and one organized sector. But I think the level of organization of the sector is also its advantage, because we can implement guidelines with a certain level of uniformity, even if, of course, there will be lapses here and there, and that is where the contingencies will kick in.
Do you mandate teachers to be vaccinated?
Well, now it's not, it's a gray area whether it is mandatory, but it is now mandatory for those that are participating in the face-to-face classes to be vaccinated. Our hope is that by suasion, we can convince all of our teachers to really get vaccinated. We still have some teachers that have so far refused, but it'll be difficult to hold out for long. For example, we will already be starting to reintroduce some level of face-to-face professional development programs again. In other words, many of the activities that will be required of teachers as we move towards a transition to a greater openness, that will require them to be vaccinated. So, in other words, I don't think that you can hold off such eventuality perpetually.
Ano ba yung vaccination rate among your 800,000 teachers? Saka, would you have data on the rate of vaccine hesitancy among the teachers? Meron ba kayong numbers?
Our vaccination, it's we are monitoring through a couple of methodologies. One is through an app, but we have seen that the rate of engagement of the app is not very high. But all of our regional offices are submitting their reports, and And what we have seen also is that even in remote areas, in this pilot face-to-face, even if this were not immediately made, for example, compulsory for the vaccination to happen, when we inventoried the rate of vaccination in the schools, in these pilot schools, it was already very high. Sometimes it is, in other words, while it is not fully reported, they have taken advantage of the expansion to the A4 category, even at the early level. So it is already at a very high rate among teaching and non-teaching personnel. And we will know for sure as we now expand to beyond the pilot schools, because as I mentioned, it will be a requirement, and we have an agreement with the NTF and the NVOC for an acceleration further of all our teachers and non-teaching personnel. So we are confident about our level of vaccination. It is higher than certainly higher than the national average.